Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, everybody. Welcome to the All Too Real 2 podcast. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Haas and Michael Cullen II.
Okay. Anyways, so folks, this is our reaction and review to the 2019 Guy Ritchie film Aladdin, produced by the Walt Disney Corporation. You may have heard of them. They're a small little company.
Startup.
Yeah. Small independent company that owns a bunch of other companies and the world, and pretty soon you and me.
Maybe.
I don't know. You are wearing a Guardians of the Galaxy shirt.
I know.
And they own them.
Well, that's because I own like 5 t-shirts and I just recycled.
It's okay, because I'm wearing a Flash t-shirt and they don't own the Flash.
No, not yet.
No, Warner Brothers does.
No.
So
We'll see.
Yeah. Someday maybe they'll own Warner Brothers. Once upon a time, Warner Brothers almost bought Disney. So
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was not even that long ago, actually. So times they change. Times they are a-changin'. Okay, this movie, which is a remake of the 1992 animated film that starred Robin Williams and Scott Wenger and other people. Those are the only two names I remember. Oh, yeah. What's his face? Gilbert Gottfried is in it, too.
That's right, yeah.
But Robin Williams was the big show in that one. This movie, we have a new cast. All new cast.
That we do.
Yes. Tell us who played the genie in this version.
Mr. Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fame, Independence Day, Hitch, bunch of other movies that I can't think of right now, but pretty much every movie.
That movie where the football players get concussions and stuff.
That's right, that one. So many good. Well, there's so many good movies,
and known for like songs like Getting Jiggy with It.
Right.
Yeah.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie.
Really great movie
with his son. Yeah.
He was. Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we have, newer comers. I mean, they both been in things before, but we have Mina Moussade as Aladdin. He was pretty good, I thought. Naomi Scott as Jasmine. We have Marwan Kenzari, I think I'm saying that right, as Jafar. And then we have Navid Negaban. I think I might be saying that wrong or whatever, as the Sultan. We also have some new characters in this version here. We have Nasim Pedrad from, you might know from SNL fame, and she was also on The New Girl, and she did an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and she's done a bunch of other stuff. She was playing this new character named Dahlia, who is the handmaiden to Princess Jasmine. And we also have Billy Magnuson as Prince Anders, who was kind of a dorky, stupid prince that was in this, So, yeah. And you've got your standards. You got your Iago and other things in this as well. Not voiced by Gilbert Godfrey this time. I believe this time he was voiced
by me.
By Matthew Haas. No, he wasn't.
No.
We also do have in like kind of a beefed up role in this, we do have Newman Akar as Hakim, the head of the guards.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was kind of given a bigger role in this than in the animated version. Alan Tudyk did the voice of Iago. The Cave of Wonders was voiced by the ever talented Frank Welker, who was also the voice of Abu in the original movie and the Cave of Wonders as well. So yeah, he reprised his role of the Cave of Wonders. So we do have one returning cast member. You might know Frank from his roles as Freddy in the Scooby-Doo franchise forever, and also as Megatron in the Transformers cartoons, as well as Ray on The Real Ghostbusters, among a bazillion other voices. So yeah,
cool.
I'm sure you've heard him before.
I probably, yeah.
Yes. Anyways, so what's different in this movie? At the beginning of this movie, what do they start out differently here in this, Matthew?
Well, it starts off with the genie as a human now.
Yeah.
On a boat with his family, and
you don't see his wife.
No.
In the beginning,
and he's basically just, his kids are kind of just like, oohing and eyeing at this like really big ship, and he's basically telling them that just because it looks nicer doesn't really mean that it's better or whatever. And then he starts telling the story about Aladdin, and then it kind of goes into the past.
He starts singing the opening theme, the Arabian Nights, just like Arabian Days.
Oh, and also too, what was different about that even, which I thought was good, because there's this line in the original song where he says, "It's barbaric, but hey, it's home," and that people kind of thought that was kind of like a prejudiced thing to say, like, oh, Arab places are barbaric. So he says it's chaotic, but it's home. So that
it's a little better.
Because it can, that can mean like political turmoil or anything. That doesn't mean barbaric. Like,
I mean, chaotic could just mean kids running around
or something like
sorry.
And so that part was a little bit different. And then but then after that, it kind of follows pretty much the same story, but with a little bit differences here and there.
Yeah. Basically, they took some liberties with it from the original. I mean, the original was based on a story that they took major liberties with. So, as we've covered previous incarnations of Aladdin for this podcast this past month, you know that there are different versions out there, folks. But this was interesting. They did beef up the character of Jasmine a hell of a lot. Mm-hmm. A whole of a lot, I said.
A whole of a lot?
A whole of a lot.
It's 2 a.m. here, folks. So,
yes. We went and saw like the premiere locally of this movie, so we're kind of...
Which I was surprised. It was just us and like 5 other people.
Yeah, there was like nobody in the theater.
I hope more people are seeing this movie.
Yeah,
and not just like...
It was actually good.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not a fan of Guy Ritchie much as a director. Yeah. I really... This is probably the first Guy Ritchie film I've actually liked, and I know that as an indie filmmaker myself, that's kind of like a bad thing to say, because a lot of people love like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch and stuff like that he's directed, but I'm not a fan. Really not a fan.
But you like this one.
Yeah, I did. I'm just not a big fan. He kind of... I think gets a little bit more credit than he deserves. Anyways,
Yeah, whatever. That's
I
cool.
mean, he's proficient at his job. If you do want to work with me, Guy Ritchie, though, I will definitely work with you, I swear. If you'd like to be on our podcast and talk about the history of your work and convince me otherwise, message me at mike@cohenpark.com. I don't think he's listening.
Probably not right now.
Maybe eventually. Yeah.
As we grow and expand.
And we venture out into a whole new world.
Yeah. Of podcasting.
Yes. A whole new podcast. Anyways, so, what, you know, I mean, we could go through the plot of this and explain how it's better and how it's different. But, I mean, the one thing that's really cool is the people actually did their own singing, unlike in the original where the people that did the voices didn't do the singing most of the time except for Robin Williams and stuff like that. And in the sequel, we got to hear the wonderful voice of Gilbert Gottfried.
That wasn't too bad.
No,
When
he wasn't too bad.
He wasn't doing that scratchy.
Yeah, not as much.
You know.
I don't know. What would you say was your favorite change to the movie? You know, like specifically, Matt.
I just think that like the humor, like they would kind of like stay on the humorous things a little bit more and not just kind of because you know it's a different type movie. It's not an animated movie, so it's not about that aspect to it. So like there was a scene like when Prince Ali makes like his big entrance. That whole thing was really cool. That by itself, the song and the choreography and
they leaked some of that early. Disney did on purpose,
really?
like a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago, maybe. Depends on when you're listening to this and everything. And a lot of people bashed it. I mean, the beginning of it, the part that they leaked wasn't really that spectacular, but it actually grew as the song went on. And I think the spectacle of it was really kind of cool, almost Bollywood like and stuff like that. It was kind of sweet. Yeah.
I liked it, and I liked that part a lot. And then when he introduces himself to Jasmine, he's like fumbling around his words because he's nervous and stuff, and he keeps fixating on the different types of jams that he brought. And then Will Smith or Genie's just like, move on from the jams because he's like, we got fig jams, we got date jams, seedless date jams.
Yam jams.
He's like, move on from the jams, and then. He makes like he makes these like just saying stuff like, oh you're trying to buy me. He's like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh you think that I'm something that's for sale? And he's like, yeah, of course. Like, no, I mean of course not. And then Genie's like, in 10,000 years I've never been this embarrassed. Like stuff like that was funny. I thought.
Yeah, I liked that the way that Aladdin and the genie played off each other. It was pretty cool. It's kind of like a buddy cop film almost or something, or like a buddy film or something, like almost like, I don't know, I want to say like Step Brothers or something in a way, like kind of like two people put together where they're kind of just forced to be friends in a way, kind of almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like I just like the added humor to it. It's kind of cool too, The whole not sure if you folks can hear this. I think there's a train coming by, so if you hear that in the background, don't think we're traveling anywhere. We're not doing this podcast on a train.
No.
That'd be fun though. Someday we will.
Yeah, the Hogwarts Express.
Yes.
We'll do the podcast.
Yes, as we venture. We could actually ride it at like Universal Studios in Florida.
Right.
Wasn't there last time I went, sadly. There was other parts of the Harry Potter world, the Wizarding world. So yeah, I mean, my biggest thing that I really liked is the expansion of Jasmine by giving her a friend. Even she has a handmaiden named Dahlia, played by Nasim Pedrad, which was kind of cool. And they even created a love story for the genie with her, which was pretty sweet because we find out at the end that the mom of the kids that he's telling the story to at the beginning is her.
Yeah.
And they even gave Naomi Scott's Jasmine her own song, because Jasmine didn't have a song in the original movie. They wrote this song called Speechless, which was pretty cool, that Alan Menken returned to do the music for. He did the music for the original, and the lyrics were written by new writers, Ben Spacek and Justin Paul. So yeah,
I love that song.
It was pretty sweet. I thought it was a really good song, and especially when they had the reprise of it later. That was towards the end of the movie. I liked that better than the first time they did it too. But I mean, all of our favorite songs, which I think is really cool, kind of returned from the original as well, kind of updated and cooler with Will Smith in a way, you know, with his Big Willie style, and
he put his own spin on Genie.
Yeah,
which was cool. He wasn't just trying to be Robin Williams.
And I mean, the thing is, nobody could be Robin Williams. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's not a single actor alive today that could have played the Genie like Robin Williams did. And they cast Will Smith smartly, in my opinion, because they knew he wasn't going to be able to do all the impressions that Robin did and all this other stuff, but he's still got that cool sense of humor of his own. And he stole the movie for me, in my opinion. I think he was the best part of the whole movie. And I was so skeptical when I first heard that he got cast. I was so afraid. Anyways, but yeah, his performance was great. But I mean, I loved Naomi Scott as Jasmine. She's beautiful too, so that kind of helps. Yeah. Anyways, why don't we take a quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the film.
Sure.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay. Anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn it. Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
Yeah,
so
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
Yeah, no one can really. So
yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of the changes that they did in the movie. The only things I had issues with were in reference to Jafar. I think Marwan Kenzari, or however you say his name. I'm sorry, Mr. Kenzari, or however you say your name. If I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. I think he's a really good actor. Don't get me wrong on that, but his voice was a little bit too, I think, mellow for me for a villain. But that's just, I don't know. I guess I see what he was trying to go for this kind of slimy sort of thing. But it's like, I think they could have developed his character a little more. Because they expanded other characters and didn't really give us a whole lot. I mean, they made one mention of the fact that he used to be a thief. And it's like, I wanted more backstory for Jafar, and why he was evil and what was going on, more than him just wanting to take over the world or whatever. It's like he became like a Bond villain, and it's like kind of what he was in the original. But I mean, you got time to expand it here on live action. Yeah. You could have. I mean, well, it was like a 2-hour movie ish. Right? Yeah, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Yeah, and it's just, I think he did a good job. I also don't, I think that, I mean, I know what they were going for, to kind of almost more realistic with the parrot, with Iago, than in the original, where he's kind of a complete character who talks and everything like a human. But I would have liked to have seen, as much as I love Alan Tudyk, I would have liked to have seen Gilbert Gottfried reprise the role. That's just me. It's kind of hard to say, I don't know. I did like that scene, though, where he turned him into like a really huge parrot. Yeah, sorcery. That was pretty sweet. That was pretty. Yeah, it was over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes. Okay, well, I guess it didn't seem that long to me. No, it didn't. No. Yeah,
that's a good pacing for a movie right there.
Yeah, when it doesn't feel as long as it. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. There was actually a couple times where I thought the pacing was kind of weird. But that's Guy Ritchie.
Well, there was weird things I noticed too. Like, they were really not so much of a complaint, but like it seemed like at times that like it was like they were being sped up when they were walking. Was that just my eyes deceiving
That's
me?
Guy Ritchie.
Okay, because that was kind of weird to me.
He has a habit of doing this thing where he slows down the background and speeds up the action of the people, or vice versa.
I wasn't a huge fan of that. I was wondering if that was just me.
It's his style.
Okay.
He's done it in like in the Sherlock Holmes movies, which he's done recently, the ones with Robert Downey Jr. He does it a lot in those, like in the action scenes especially. And this is not like one that's going to have like a lot of big action sequences, fights and stuff. But I will tell you, the one thing I really found cool as action-wise was all of the like almost parkour type stuff that Aladdin was doing around Agrabah. That was sweet. I mean, towards the beginning, like when he's singing One Jump Ahead and stuff, that was really cool. I mean, I don't know, I like stuff like that. Kind of reminded me in a way of that. There was that one James Bond movie maybe a decade ago or something, or a little bit less, one of the Daniel Craig movies, where there's a scene where he's basically he's chasing a bad guy and through a town, and like buildings are falling around him and all this other shit, and it's just sweet, and that just reminded me of that a lot. Thought it was pretty cool. I don't know, kind of. I mean, I don't know. It's but yeah, but like I said, with Jafar, I liked him. I just think he could have been developed better. Yeah, he just wasn't as menacing of a villain as he could have been. He kind of came off as almost more whiny than anything.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I could see that.
Yeah,
like his ambitions were like huge. Like just wants ultimate power, because that's kind of what happens. Like just like in the original movie. Yeah, he gets tricked into wishing to be like the most powerful being in the universe. Yeah. And so then he gets turned into a genie. Yeah. And then, but now he can't really use his power unless someone finds his lamp or whatever. Yeah. Unbelievable power, itty bitty living space. Yeah. Which even in that, those kind of messed. I mean, he was just like so lustful of power that he couldn't think logically, because it's like if the genie is gonna make you into the most powerful being in the universe, then wouldn't that make the genie the most powerful? Because he's making you. So obviously, the one who he's not thinking it through. The one who makes the most powerful being in the universe has to be more powerful. Is still more powerful than you, regardless. Yeah. So that was interesting, but he was just like lusting for power. He's like, ugh. And that staff he had, where he was like, because his staff got broke. That was another cool scene when Aladdin took his staff and just slammed it against the floor and it just shattered. Yeah. It was a really cool visual scene. I mean, I thought the 3D effects were pretty good in this movie too. It came out, I mean, they could have been better, but it was pretty cool. And I don't know, overall, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the whole idea of remaking a movie for money grabs. Mm-hmm. But this seemed like more than that. I mean, it actually seemed like somebody cared when they were writing this, and it was there, and they cared about, like, almost in a post Me Too world, sort of like kind of giving a woman a point of view too, and I respect that a lot. And I also respect the fact that all of the main cast members except for Will Smith were of like Middle Eastern or Asian descent or something. It just seemed like that was better than casting a bunch of white people and putting brown face on them or something. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I didn't even notice that consciously. I mean, I was just watching. Yeah, I'm like, this is a really good movie. Which that kind of proves the point, though, is that like other people can act too, not just white guys who live in L.A. Like that's why I hope the movie does well, because it'll show that yes, you can kind of create more movies that star people of color. Right? It's like, and then not use the excuse of, well, we only do things that sell. It's like, well, then it becomes a chicken and egg thing, though, because if it's like, if those are only movies you do, then of course those are going to be the only ones that sell, which then means like, oh, well, we have to continue only making movies like these, and it just becomes a circular. Yeah, it's the same. It's like with music, you get the same, sort of music and beats and stuff behind songs for years on end on top 40 radio. Oh, you were talking about that what were you talking about?
Oh, no, I was just saying in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I mean, because you'll get a song that's done by like Taylor Swift that sounds like a song by Cardi B that sounds like a song like, you know, just like you'll get different people and it wouldn't matter who you put in the driver's seat of the song, it's going to be the same music behind it. You know, it's just, you know, you could have a country song that has the same music as a rap song and it wouldn't matter nowadays because they just find something that sticks and they're like, hey, this works. We'll do this. You know, it's the same thing with movies. It's like, oh, you know, and I guess to a point, that's kind of what Disney's doing here with these Beauty and the Beast and Maleficence and all these like, you know, live action remakes of animated films, you know?
True. But I also think too that sometimes like a movie can also like, cause you know, an animated movie, you know, like has its own style. Mm-hmm. So that when you do it live action, it kind of changes the style.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like
it's like the difference between a book and a
right. So like
a TV show or
sometimes, like I mean, I didn't see the Beauty and the Beast one, so I can't really comment on that one. But like, and I don't know if I've seen the Maleficent either.
Maleficent.
Sorry, Maleficent. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one, but I mean, I know.
Well, they're doing is that 2 now?
Now they're doing a sequel now. Yeah, but yeah, because I mean, the thing is with Maleficent, from what I understand, at least was different because it's a prequel to Sleeping Beauty, so it's like and I didn't see Dumbo, but I heard good and bad from it. So it's my Dumbo, which is one of my least favorite Disney movies ever, anyways. So it's like whatever. It saved the company though. So
wow, Lion King, I'm not so sure about that because it's one thing to have people acting the parts of animated things than having animals.
Well, they did do it with Jungle Book, and it's the same director.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
it's Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man 1 and 2.
Okay.
And the writer of quite possibly one of the best indie films ever, Swingers. Anyways,
that's a good one.
But I kind of want to see it just too because I mean Donald Glover is Simba in this too, so
yeah.
But the thing that bothers me about that one is people keep referring to it as live action. Every single element of that movie is CGI.
Right. So it's not live action.
It's not live action at all.
It's CGI action.
Yeah. It's not like they trained a lion to talk, you know, and a warthog to talk or whatever. You know, I'm just saying.
And be friends with each other.
Yeah. And not eat each other.
Yeah. Well, a lion eats the
warthog. Yeah.
Man.
But that's the other thing too. I mean, I think the CGI in this movie was good and in Aladdin.
Fantastic.
The cool thing I heard the other day, and I mean, it is pretty amazing. They did motion capture for Will Smith as the genie, and when he's blue, that's all CGI from what I understand. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Will was being facetious when he said that, but I heard him on Kimmel the other night, and he was talking about it, and he was saying that it was completely CGI, which I believe it could happen. You know,
I mean, when you got all these facial recognition softwares and stuff, I mean, like there's only so many variables of a human face before you can kind of.
But they do that thing where they put little dots all over your face and have you say the lines and everything. Because I mean, that's what they did with. That's how they did Thanos in the Avengers movies and stuff. And you know, even back in the day, how they did Gollum and you know stuff like that. So it's possible. I mean, it's kind of scary too, though, to a point of how realistic they're getting. And I mean, they did that. I mean, sometimes you still have what they call the uncanny valley, where you can tell it's animated and it's not quite right, even though you're trying to create a human. I think with the aspect of him being blue, it took away some of the stuff, and you made it not realize. Whereas, like in Rogue One, they recreated Peter Cushing with an actor doing his voice and facial recognition. I mean, facial what do you call it? Now I forgot what it was called. The motion capture of his face, and they did that, and it falls way into that uncanny valley where you're like, that's a computer. That's not a dude. It's looks almost like Peter Cushing, but not quite. There's just something wrong. But it still leaps and bounds above what they could do. But that is kind of scary, though, because in my opinion, you could take voice recognition from people and, or I'm not recognition, but like voice recordings of people, and maybe even create something that could sound like somebody, and you won't even need a human at all. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't even need like a voice impersonator to do
the role, and you could eventually, we could have a movie with Humphrey Bogart and James Dean starring next to each other in the movie or something, and it's like with Tom Cruise or something, and
like
you're
a
just
completely AI recreation. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, some people are worried about that. People who understand where this technology is going, they're already talking about AI created music and stuff, and at what point then, like people are like even having like issues with like legal issues of like how at one point can someone say that like someone stole something from someone else if they just taught an AI software to basically scan like millions of songs to create their own melody. I mean, at what point can they say that they stole that or they created that, type of thing.
And it's like you got that whole deep fake sort of thing too, where you can take a video and like I've seen that one where Jordan Peele does the voice of Obama, and
it can have terrible political ramifications.
And they got this facial thing, and he sounds just like Obama, and the thing looks just like Obama, so you would think that that's Obama talking, and he can make him say anything you wanted. If you get somebody that sounds like him or Trump or anybody, I'm just saying that you could totally create anybody.
Like when you have a certain person that always talks about fake news, you might actually get to the point where there literally is fake news, where it's a politician claim, like for example, like all these people hate Ilhan Omar or
and they could get her.
They could get
one of them to say something, or on the other side, you get some. You could. I mean, not that I'm defending him, but you could get Trump saying something that he's not really saying, and create a world war or something. You never know.
I read an article. I sound like Jonah now from Superstore, but I read an article the other day about basically it said deep fakes are coming, and it's like completely disastrous for democracy. Because until people eventually, once they get used to something, they'll be able to kind of suss out like what is fake and what's not. But at first, there's not.
There's gonna probably still be a way to technologically tell what something is, and there might be ways that you have to prove that something's a real video. But it's just kind of scary that, like, I served on a trial for a shoplifter, and one of the things that we had into evidence was video from the retail store that the girl was shoplifting from, where we actually saw her taking things out of the store on video. But that could easily be faked now.
Right.
Where they could put me in a JCPenney stealing stuff, and then I go to trial, and all of a sudden I'm in trouble for stealing from JCPenney, and I never even stepped foot in there. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but hopefully things don't ever come to that.
Yeah.
Let's take another quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back, and we've got some trivia and some other things to talk about before we wrap things up here about Aladdin.
Cool.
Magus Elgar's apprentice, Udo Malaki, comes from a family of dangerous, exciting casters.
Hi, I'm Udo Malaki, and, I do magic.
Even if his ambitions only go as far as staying alive.
I was really hoping you were going to say something a bit more positive.
Not exactly an ideal Magus. You can hear Udo Malaki and his exciting adventures in the upcoming radio comedy, Magus Elgar.
Visit MagusElgar.com to download your copy today.
And we are back.
We are back. Sorry.
We are back. You ought to know by. Okay. So, sorry. Got a little bit of a Billy Joel moving out stuck in my head. So, I pulled up the good old Internet Movie Database here. Got some trivia about the movie. Sir Patrick Stewart campaigned for the role of Jafar. He had previously turned down the role in 1992's Aladdin and regretted it ever since. Okay. This film has also been homaged in two previous Disney... Actually, I'm glad, though, that they didn't cast Patrick Stewart as much as I love him. It would have been weird because he's white.
And also, like, 80-something years old.
Yeah, but still.
It's Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. He's looked like he's 80 since he was 35.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, it's just...
Pretty much. The guy doesn't really age much.
No. Yeah, This film has been homaged in 2 previous Disney live-action films. The Jungle Book in 2016, the genie's lamp was spotted in King Louis's temple. In Beauty and the Beast, there was a model of Agrabah Castle that appeared during Be Our Guest. The reason Guy Ritchie was primarily interested in doing this film was because it was Disney's story he was closest to. He said, "My stories are really about street hustlers. That's what I know how to do. And Aladdin is a classic street hustler who makes good." He also decided to do a children's film for his 5 children.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Smith, it says, recorded Friend Like Me on the first day that he met the composers.
Oh, wow.
There were rumors early on that Gilbert Gottfried would be reprising his role of Iago from the original franchise. However, it was later confirmed that Alan Tudyk would be taking up the role. The filmmakers took an extensive casting call to find actors for the that were right ethnicities for the film, having an Arabian setting. In the end, the cast was comprised of Arab, Middle Eastern, Central Asian, Southern Asian descent actors. Egyptian-Canadian actor Mina Moussade played Aladdin. Anglo-Indian actress Naomi Scott played Jasmine. Dutch-Tunisian actor Marwan Kanzari played Jafar. Iranian-American actors Naveed Negaban played the Sultan, and Dahlia was played by Nassim Hadrad. Turkish-German actor Numan Akar played Hakim. So, yeah, as I said before, the only actor from the original to reprise his role was Frank Welker, who played Abu and also played the Cave of Wonders. But he also did the voice of Abu, the little monkey sounds and stuff.
That's awesome. Also, it reminded me about what you said earlier about the CGI.
Yeah.
That Cave of Wonders scene was
sweet.
Awesome. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That was
it was beautiful.
That was such a good.
And I'm pretty sure that Abu was completely CGI.
Oh, really?
That monkey. I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's pretty sweet.
It looked like a real monkey.
Yeah. It's amazing what they can do nowadays.
What about Raja? Was she CGI?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
She probably was. Yeah. Because I don't think they would have the actors that close.
Probably not. Yeah.
That close to a huge tiger.
Didn't think about that.
And this I'm not going to name them all, but this is actually Alan Tudyk's 8th Disney film. At first, Will Smith was actually offered to star in Dumbo, in the part I think that went to Colin Farrell, and he turned it down and wanted to do this instead.
That's cool.
Okay, so another thing, Jim Carrey was offered the role of the genie. But
that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm glad they went with Will Smith.
Me too. He, because I think Jim Carrey would be very much too similar to Robin Williams. Because they're both like these great comic improvisers who are kind of both like in their own little universe.
Right. So like it would be too similar, but then since he's not Robin Williams,
it would be compared
so
too much.
So it's better to have someone that's not even like Robin Williams at all. So that way no one's making a comparison.
Because he was he turned it down because of some legal troubles, it says, that he was having at the time, so he couldn't do any long-term work. Guy Ritchie said he chose Will Smith to be the genie because he believed Smith could give a performance as good as the late Robin Williams, but not similar. Just the flavor of the character would be different enough and unique enough that it would be in a different lane versus trying to compete. Which makes sense. It's like they're in two different races. Gabriel Iglesias was in the running to play the genie. Not even sure.
Oh, he's the
is it that comedian? Is that
guy that always talks
the
about
guy
being
Fluffy?
Fluffy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That would have been all right too, but
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of his.
They
so
made
that's why,
they made
yeah.
the right choice with Will Smith.
And I don't think he's big enough name. You know what I mean? Well known enough. I mean, he's known, but he's not like Will Smith known.
Right.
Yeah. And during the campaign after Marwan Kenzari was cast as Jafar, the media started calling him Hot Jafar because he's hot. I guess the guy's completely ripped, like too. Like he's
really?
like, yeah. I saw a picture of him the other day with his shirt off, and the dude is like, yeah, like unbelievably shredded. Yeah, it's kind of creepy. Anyways, and yeah, I hope that they fix this, but I guess a lot of the writers from the original movie didn't get credited on this movie, even though the story was written by them. And so I really hope they fix that. I didn't pay attention to see if they did, but I really hope that they did. Why don't we take one quick other break here before we wrap things up, and maybe we can read a couple of reviews, like if there's any online, and then we'll end this here, Matt.
Okay.
And we'll be right back. Hey, folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All Too Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So it
was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way. Anyways, so sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye. Okay, and we are back. And so I'm searching through the Internet Movie Database here, as we do.
As we shall do.
Yes.
Do shall.
So The Master Gaming on May 19th, 2009 gave a little review here. They must have saw an early screening of it somewhere. 9 out of 10. So good. I didn't have high hopes for this film, but honestly, it surprised me. I found the CGI to be tolerable.
Okay.
And that it wasn't as bad as in the trailers. The music in this film was just amazing. That's the other thing, too. I love the music.
Yeah.
It was the perfect mix of the original with some new elements, and it just gave me chills every time, specifically Friend Like Me. The actors did a phenomenal job, and Will was, of course, the standout performance. Naomi Scott also did a great job as well. The one problem I have with this film is that Jafar looks way too young. He doesn't have the same effect when he looks like that. I will give him that. Here's a bad review of the film. It's a really short one. Somebody named Princess Taslov. 1 out of 10. The old version is better. The movie was not what I expected. There was no chemistry between the couples. Jasmine has a beauty of an Arab girl, and Naomi Scott does not represent any of it. And I don't get a Disney princess vibe from her. Yeah, they saw a completely different movie than I did.
So, to be clear, Jasmine from 1992 was a cartoon character.
Voiced by a white woman.
So how could she have the beauty of an Arab woman when she's a cartoon character? Chapter.
And the other thing I'd like to say is she's from Agrabah. It's a fictional fucking country, people.
Also, people from the Middle East, just like black people, just like all other Asian people, they do not all look the same.
Yes.
So, like, I knew this one dude when I was in college who sometimes I would see at the mosque. He had red hair. He looked almost like my neighbor from down the street when I was a little kid, who's Scottish ancestry. This guy was from Syria. So, like, you know, like, I mean, like, to say like, oh, she doesn't look like a beautiful Arab woman because a cartoon character looks different than her. Like, okay, I guess.
And the stripes on Raja were different than the stripes on Raja in the cartoon.
I know,
so that's completely different. You know,
so
I'm just saying.
The tiger sucks now.
It doesn't look like an Arab tiger.
It doesn't look like an Arab tiger. Or an Agrabarian. I don't know.
Agrabarian.
That sounds like some I know those Agrabarians. They ruined our country. Those Agrabarians. They shouldn't be allowed to vote. I don't know.
Well, did you ever see the thing? There was actually a poll done online.
Yes.
Where people said that, you know, something about, you know, we should invade Agrabah.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then people like, how many? It's like 50%, something ridiculous amount of percentage of people are like, yay.
Well,
right.
It's like the recent thing where people were saying that they didn't think we should be teaching Arabic numerals in school.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
That
one's just sad.
Yes.
It's like I mean, it's what we've been using for how many? I don't know how many centuries now.
Yeah.
Roman numerals suck. I'm sorry. I still get confused after 7. I don't even know what happens with 8. I don't even know what you're supposed to do with 8. I don't know. And I don't. That's why I hate reading old books.
Yeah.
Old books where they have footnotes because they do them. They used to do them in Roman numerals. I don't know what the footnotes are even talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have to guess or just not read them because
I don't know what's going on with 8.
I don't. That's a good line. I don't know what's going on with 8. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it for the reviews here then. Anything else you want to say about the movie, Matt?
I don't know. I'm just trying to remember because, you know, we just saw it like a few hours ago, so I'm trying to remember like I'll probably end up remembering more over the next day or so, but just like I really love that Cave of Wonders scene with the coins.
It was pretty cool.
And the ruby, and then when Abu picked up the ruby, then like all that lava and fire and stuff like that just came out. That was such a cool scene.
So this is going to sound weird to some people probably listening and everything, but okay, because a lot of people didn't like this movie. There's been a few musical movies that have like blown me away. One of them was Rent, which, because I love the musical Rent, it's not as good as the stage play by any means, but for some odd reason, like the scenes, especially when they're on the streets of Agrabah and in like Aladdin's little house and stuff like that, towards the beginning of the movie, as I was watching it, I'm thinking to myself, I was like, this feels like the Rent movie to me. I don't know if it's the whole like living in poor conditions and stuff like that. It had in the way it was filmed and certain things like the lighting and different things like that, it just really reminded me of Rent for some reason. In a good way, not in a bad way by any means. So
we're not gonna pay.
We're not. But yeah, it was like in a good way. I don't know what it is. It was something. Yeah. I don't know. It was just interesting. Like, I mean, it's not like all over the movie, but it's just like, I think it also just had that feel, and it was like sort of like in the spectacular aspect of it, where I just love, there's something about musicals. When I was a kid, I hated musicals. And then I did one in high school. I like worked on one. I wasn't in it. I was in another one later. But I worked on Godspell in high school on the crew and designed the set and stuff. And after I did that, I was just like, okay, I love musicals now. And there's just something about this. And I mean, this is, I mean, there is a Broadway musical version of Aladdin out there, which I've seen a lot of clips of and stuff like that. And it looks beautiful. I would love to see that too. But there's something about it when it's put to film as well that just blows me away. The whole idea of somebody singing, it's just, I don't know, it makes me want to cry sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when you do it right.
Yeah.
Because there's some musicals, like a certain one that begins with the phrase part 2 or part 1 and 2. Mamma Mia.
Oh, that one. I was thinking of the first letter, not the end.
I didn't want
to
say it, but
yeah.
Apparently, some of those movies aren't.
Yeah, here's my thing, people. Matt got me on this little thing. Okay, so the cinematography in this movie at times was kind of sloppy. I'll tell you that in Aladdin, but that is Guy Ritchie's style at times. He's kind of an indie filmmaker, kind of comes from that. And it worked to his benefit in this because of the whole aspect of this. Okay. Now, when you're doing a movie based on one of the most popular Broadway musicals ever, named Mamma Mia, and you decide that you're going to have a song with Pierce Brosnan and Meryl Streep singing to each other on the side of a fucking hill, and instead of cutting to close-ups, which you can do with film, by the way, I just telling whoever the fuck the cinematographer was on that film. Whoever it is never going to want to work with me. I just know that, and I don't care. Anyways, cut to some fucking close-ups of Pierce and Meryl. They're both beautiful people. Cut to their faces. Come on, people. I'm just saying, for like most of that song, it's just two people on a fucking hill in the distance singing to each other. That's cool on stage, because on stage you get to do your own editing with your eyes, and you can kind of zoom in and do whatever you want on who you want to focus on and shit like that when you're watching a musical. Yes. When you're making a movie, I understand you don't always need close-ups. There, when you got somebody singing a heart-wrenching song to each other, you know what you need? Guess what, Matt?
Close-up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're learning.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin.
Aladdin had close-ups.
Yeah. And also beautiful music.
Yes. And beautiful dance numbers where they showed
that really cool dance scene.
It was like very Bollywood-ish.
The Prince Ali.
Yeah.
When the genie was forcing him to dance by
when
his hands
when they were at a party in this one scene, and that was beautiful. That was sweet. And Mina Moussade is like, I hope he did all that dancing himself. I don't know though. I mean, because nowadays you could replace his face with, you could have had a really professional, but whoever did the dancing in that scene was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anything else you need to say here, Matt?
Not really. Just
what would you rate this movie out? A 1 out of 10?
I'd probably go with 9.
Yeah.
I go with a solid 9.
I'd give it about a 9.5, which is really surprising for me because I was really expecting to hate this movie, honestly.
Really?
So I kept my hopes up when I went in, but I was still. Maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I was expecting something a lot worse.
Because you thought it was going to be bad, yeah.
Yeah, I was really expecting to hate it because the original Aladdin is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I saw that movie like 4 or 5 times in theaters when it came out, and went on a blind date to see it and all this other stuff. Yeah, when I was like in junior high. But. Yeah, that was a weird, awkward time. Anyways, yeah, I don't want to think about awkward, Mike.
No.
I just realized that our the ceiling fan's still on, and I thought I had turned it off.
Oh, shoot. Oh, well.
That's okay. So if you guys heard the ceiling fan during this, just
I hope you didn't. Yeah, if you heard a bunch of background noise, then whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But
yeah. Sorry about your luck. Anyways, we love you, folks.
Yeah.
And be sure to tune in next episode when we get back to regular programming, where we're going to talk about some direct-to-video sequel or some topic of some sort. I haven't decided what the next one's going to be yet. So, but until then, we're done.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.